Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rich. Hey, wanted to wanted to talk a little bit today about just life and what I think the baseline of being a man is about, right? And what you guys should be doing. This kind of came across. I was helping out a couple people that I had pretty much the same conversation with, right? And it's just what I would call this is your baseline. You know what I mean? What you should be, what your dad should have taught you, what my dad should have taught me, right? But my dad didn't know. He really just didn't know. You know, my dad. Unfortunately, was kind of sleepwalking through life and just did what he thought was right. He didn't really overthink it too much. He didn't. He really didn't put a lot of thought into it. He just went through life, and I think that's what the majority of us do, right? We just kind of go through life, and like we're like a pinball machine. We just kind of kick back and get hit back here. We go here. We go there. And we do whatever feels right, whether it be getting married to the first woman that you get laid with, which is what one of my friends did. What you pick the first job that offers you some good money, and money's the driver in that particular situation. Instead of being picky and really looking at options and really looking into the type of job that you want, and I'll talk more about that aspect, because I've been in the corporate industry for over 20 years, or friendships, picking friendships and just being like, well, he's cool, or she's cool, I'll just hang out, because there's nothing else or whatever, and picking people for the wrong reasons. It seems like in the world today, we're kind of driving to the wrong metrics. We're not doing the right things. We're not doing what's right. We're not doing what God would want us to do, right? We're just, everybody's out for the almighty dollar, trying to get what they can out of, they're trying to squeeze shit out of a turnip, right? Let's be real. I just don't think that people think out their decisions the way they should, really, and this is what I told my students, that I was kind of giving some suggestions to, or some guidance, right? Is really, you should have a plan for your life. You should always have a plan for your life. See, I had a plan, right? I always had a plan of going to school, getting a degree. Originally, it was engineering. Then I got off the path. I didn't follow my heart, right? I didn't follow my intuition. I got off the path and went down, the criminal justice route. I was going to be a cop, a DEA agent, that sort of thing. And ultimately, I got back to being an engineer, right? That was always in my heart. That's always what I wanted to do. I got back here, right? I even thought about being a doctor at one point. I don't, you know what I mean? That a doctor's cool, but ultimately it wasn't in my heart, right? So, I always had a plan, but I never believed in my plan. That was the problem with my school. So I ended up getting multiple degrees, and I finished everything, but I got multiple degrees that I don't even use to this day. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to think about it, right? You really have to put that type of stuff in perspective. But I didn't have a plan when it came to love and relationships and that sort of thing. I was that proverbial pinball, right? Just kind of going here and there. And unfortunately, I wasted a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time in my schooling as well, and money, And that's the thing, that's really the ultimate thing that I really want to get across here is you don't want to waste your time. So have a plan, right? So in your teens and 20s, you want to have a plan. Okay, you don't have to know exactly what you want, but have an idea of what you want. Have an idea of the path that you're going to take. Because quite frankly, you come up at 20, let's say 20, right? Let's just throw it out there. At 20, your plan is going to be different at 30. It's going to be different at 40. That's just the way it is. It's always going to change. But, if you're going to get your degree, the short term, you should have a plan, right? Because you're 20, you should, theoretically, you graduate at 24 or whatever, right? You should have a plan for that. Have a plan for getting your master's degree. What kind of job do you want, right? You should look into all of these things and have a plan for it. I always did, so that part of my life was always set. I was always really good in that part, right? The problem with friendships and relationships, is that I didn't believe in myself enough, right? Nobody ever sat me down and said, hey, you know what? You got to have more confidence in yourself, man. Same thing with sports. I had I had athletic ability. I really did. You know what I mean? I was a really good baseball player. I was a good football player, but I wasn't great. If somebody had really taken me to the side and shown me what I needed to know, I could have been great. I know it. I had the athletic ability. Let's put it that way. Okay. But unfortunately, I didn't have that. And that's okay. It is what it is, right? If, those of you out there, who are listening to this, find a mentor. Find a dad figure that's going to teach you that kind of shit, right? If you don't have it. There's somebody out there that will take the interest. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. So school was my only option, really. And I went all out in school. I also wanted to be a Navy SEAL. But I was an only child. And I didn't want to leave my family, to pursue that aspect of it. And that's one of my biggest regrets to this day, because I always just wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I always knew that I could do it, but unfortunately, I just didn't go that route. So that said, do not follow your heart, right? Follow what you want to do and don't give up on it. Don't let anybody tell you different. You follow what's in here. That's what's important. Okay. Now back to the baseline, right? What I think you guys should be doing. At the age of 20, have a plan, right? I want to do this. And then, in your 20s, with regard to dating, you should be dating. You should just be dating. Just have a great time, enjoy, hang out, have fun, hook up. That's what Corey Wayne always says, right? And that's exactly what you should do. That's what you should be doing at any age, right? And then then figure it out. In your 20s, you should be figuring out what kind of woman that you want. Because, let's put it to you this way, right? If you go out and you're buying a car, you drive multiple cars to figure out what kind of car you want, what kind of features you want, what kind of seats, do you want a stick? Do you want, they don't have sticks anymore, but, do you want a stick? Do you want an automatic? Do you want, just all these doohickeys, on these cars? You got to be able to figure that out. You drive each car and figure it out. Oh, I like this car. You know what I mean? Same thing with dating. You know, a lot of people get mad when I explain it to them like this, because they think, oh, you're just, you know, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't. You should fall in love, get married, whatever. How in the fuck are you gonna fall in love with the first person that you meet, right? One of my best friends did that, man. He met somebody, thought he fell in love, and then he ended up going down a path which led him to alcoholism, and ultimately he died. You know what I mean? At 41. Getting married and having kids and that sort of thing, that part of your life is going to be one of the most important decisions you ever make in this world. You know, that and your job, because you spend a shit ton of time at your job. So those are the two decisions that you really have to put a lot of thought into. And I don't think a lot of people do. I really don't. You know, every time I went out with a woman, you know, I mean, I pretty much knew what I wanted early on. And then I refined it as I went through life and started dating, right? I didn't date because I had all these fucking blue pill assholes in my ear telling me, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be a player. You know, being a player is going out with a bunch of women and fucking them and not being honest with them. You know what I mean? As long as you're out there doing that and being honest, it's all good. How can they get mad? They can't get mad because you're being 100% honest with them. You don't have to tell them everything, but just say, hey, you know, I'm dating. I'm having fun. I'm having a good time. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. So, you know, but I had all these blue-pilled assholes in my ear telling me, oh, you shouldn't be a player. That's not right. You know what I mean? Dude, shut the fuck up. That shit drives me crazy to this day because they still tell me that shit, you know? It wasn't until I was 42 that I met a woman that was anywhere near what I wanted. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to the other women that I dated. I mean, because the woman before her was fantastic and probably the closest thing to that I ever wanted to date prior to her. You know what I'm saying? So you have to kiss a lot of princesses to get to the right one, right? And honestly, you know, you got to be able to figure that out, which leads to what I was originally saying is have a plan, right? In your 20s, you know, you want to, okay, maybe you want to get married or maybe you don't. One of the two, whatever. But don't let anybody tell you that you have to get married or that you can't be single. There is nothing wrong with being single. As a matter of fact, I think you're a fucking genius if you're single, right? Because getting into a relationship is a huge responsibility, man. It's not something that I didn't want to do, right? I would have definitely gotten into a relationship with the right woman and I was going to get married, right? About, I think it was 4 years ago. No, 5 years ago. 6 years ago now. Holy shit. Okay. Anyway, I was going to get married and I put all my eggs in one basket. She's a fantastic woman. I said, okay, let's do this, right? But a lot of it was intuition. I loved her. She was a great woman. She had a lot of she had everything on my list. I made a list, right? I made a list of all the yays and nays, okay? So the pros and cons, right? And the characteristics that I wanted in a woman and the deal breakers kind of thing, right? So I made a list like that. She was everything on my list and then some. So I made a list, right? And then I prioritized it to 10 of the best characteristics, right? The top 10. And I was like, okay, if I get these 10, I'm golden. You know, and none of the, none of the deal breakers, right? Obviously. Well, she was all of the 10, and then plus the other ones that I had listed, and even more than that. Unbelievable, right? I was for a long time. I was just like, dude, is this chick blowing smoke on my ass or what? You know what I mean? She's fucking fantastic. You know what I mean? Everything just fell in line. She was everything that I ever wanted and then some. You know what I mean? It was just. I mean, she was beautiful. She was smart. She was natural. She didn't wear a lot of makeup. I hate that when you have to paint on your fucking face, man. That's awful. Because when I used to wake up next to her when she didn't have any makeup, she'd look even more beautiful than when she had makeup. It was just unbelievable, right? She was athletic. She liked to play sports. She liked to watch sports every once in a while. We liked all the same things. We ate at the same places. We were both healthy. We both went to the gym. It was just mind blowing. You know what I mean? And it took me 42 years to find that person, So, and for some people, that person never even comes once, I mean, it's probably because they don't move around enough and figure it out, I don't know if it's where I live or it's probably everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, right? This is probably just a sample size. Where I live is just a sample size of everywhere else in the world, right? But, people get into a relationship and right away they get married. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to marry this person, this and that. Even with all the quirks and all the fucked up situations that they might have, right? They get locked down like that, And that happened with a lot of my friends. Me, on the other hand, I was just like, I was always real doubtful. I was always looking out for red flags. I was like, oh man, this chick, you know what I mean? I remember when I was in my 20s, I dated a chick and she was everything that I thought I wanted at that particular time before I really knew what I wanted. And she was cool. And, she had a lot of characteristics that I thought I wanted in a woman. But then I was kind of fucking around and dating somebody else on the side. And she had a lot of characteristics. I'm telling you, if you put those two women together, I'd have a really good woman. She still wasn't better than my ex-fiance. You know what I mean? Because, just the characteristics, just what I wanted in a woman, just wasn't. It had evolved and it had matured over the years, when I found her at the age of, 42. So anyway, what you really want at the age of 20, in your 20s, is, to have a plan with your life, right? When it comes to your career and all that sort of thing. When it comes to dating and friendships, just kind of go with the flow. Just, you know what I mean? Just figure it out. You're kind of learning. You got time to fuck up, that sort of thing. Then in your 30s, you should be refining things. You know what I mean? You should already know pretty much what you want in a relationship with a woman. Friendship, you should have a pretty good idea. And then in your 40s, man, you should really, really know, and that's when I really, really knew. I really knew what I wanted. I really knew what kind of person I wanted in my life. The problem is at age 40, trying to find that person, right? And, there was a couple women that I dated when I was younger, in my 20s and 30s, right? That I was like, well, maybe, they were maybes. They were hard maybes. But still, I didn't, it wasn't like bowled me over. Oh my God, I'm in love with this person. I've never really felt like that. You know, and I feel bad about this, right? I use the term love pretty loosely because I thought I loved those people. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm lying to them. You know, I love them probably in a different way. But, you know, I wasn't 100% honest with myself, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, do I really love this person? Is this the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? I couldn't really say that about a lot of them. You know what I mean? Except my ex-fiance. I wanted to marry her. I want, like, when I asked her to marry me, I mean, it was like, I was done. And that's one thing she never really understood. Because I had always been, you know, dating and going around with different women and stuff, you know, and having a good time, you know. And she never thought she was good enough for me. And she would always say, well, you know, are you sure you want me? You know, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Like, I don't just, that's the thing about me. I'll tell you something about me. And this is stuff that you got to figure out about yourself. I always thought I was a weirdo when it came to certain things, right? I was always more focused than most people, right? Like I'm fanatical about certain things, about my fitness, about my health, about, you know, because I always get this, right? Well, one meal's not going to kill you. You know, you don't fucking understand, man. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it, right? My career, you know what I mean? I knew exactly what I wanted. I went after it 150%. I gave everything to it, you know. Friendships, I give everything to my friendships, but a lot of them I just throw to the wayside because, you know, they don't share the same mindset as me. You know, I'm a red pilled, I'm not, you know, nasty red pilled. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, what's that dude that just got arrested in fucking Romania, man. I'm not like him. I'm not like a lot of the red pill communities. You know, I'm not, you know, I just see the world differently. And I'm going to go after what I really want in someone. I'm not going to settle. You know, and I don't know if they call that red pill. I don't know if you want to call that red pill. I don't know, you know. But I'm, you know, whether it be my job, whether it be my relationships, my friendships, I'm going to be around people that add value to my life, that lift me up, that make me a better person. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hang around these assholes that are jealous. That's the one thing I've always gotten in my life is jealousy, man. You know what I mean? Because quite frankly, I make people feel insecure about their life because I live a great life. You know, and I'm happy. I always got a fucking smile on my face, right? I'm dating different women, different beautiful women. You know, it doesn't jive with a lot of people the way I live, you know, and that's okay. You know, but if you're going to be my friend, accept me for who I am and move on. You know, if you wanted to have a fucked up situation at your house and get married and have kids and do all that sort of thing and you're miserable, don't blame me for that shit. You know what I mean? You're the one who made the fucked up decision. You know, so that's the thing, right? You know, so I am not going to be around people that don't add value to my life, that don't add some sort of substance. I get bored talking to people. I do. I don't like small talk. And that's the challenge for me in dating, right? Is to go up to women and have small talk and, you know, talk about this and that, you know, and, you know, don't come at me with some mindless dribble, you know, that I don't give a flying fuck about. You know what I mean? Don't waste my goddamn time, you know? And half these women out here that I've been dating, right, or that I've come across, I haven't dated them because honestly, they're not worth my time. And I'm not trying to be an asshole here, guys. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to be very valuable about my time, you know, and I think you should too, because it's very important, right? Same with your job. Don't spend time at a job that you don't think is valuable, that you're not adding value or something like that. You know what I mean? You're not growing. If that's the case, you're not growing. I want somebody who challenges me in my life, you know, whether it be a friend or relationship. I want somebody who's going to challenge my mind and stimulate my mind. My ex used to stimulate my mind. We used to talk about things all the time. When we first went out, we used to have really great conversations. We used to talk deep about shit. She was very intelligent. She didn't think she was, but she was. She is. I mean, she still is, you know. So, you know, that's the thing, man. You know, you got to find people and be around people that celebrate you, that challenge you as a person, and that are going to add that value to your life and make your life that much better, you know. And if you run into people that don't do that to you, kick them to the curb, you know. Who says you need to be friends with people like that or be around people like that? You know, you gotta believe in yourself, guys. You know, and that's really what I'm getting into, right? You got to believe in yourself. You got to have a plan in life. You got to have and you have to stick to that plan. Don't let anybody throw you off that shit, right? For years, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I always felt like I was walking on a tightrope and I was balancing myself. And, you know, instead of being firm with 2 feet on the ground and being firm in my convictions and wanting to be the red-pilled alpha that I really am, right? That I've always been, I would always be standing on that tightrope on 1 foot, and these blue-pilled assholes would always knock me over. You know what I mean? Telling me, oh, well, what you're doing isn't right. Oh, you should do this or you should do that. You know, don't ever listen to anybody whose life is not how you would want it to be, right? And that's the problem. You know, it's the carpenter theory. Everybody's house, the carpenter can fix everybody's house. Everybody's house is great and, you know, strong structural integrity's there, but their house is falling apart. So don't ever listen to people that you don't feel share that same mindset. You know, it's the person that I've become, right, over the years, and I've only become the person that I always was, right? But now I truly believe it because I always thought I was a weirdo, right? If you get a chance, guys, and I've been watching a lot of these videos on Sigma males, right? That is 150% me to the T. I always thought I was a weirdo. I always thought I was some weirdo dude that, you know, would dump his friends and dump women and, you know, just not be into small talk, be really focused about his goals, you know, just totally different from 99% of the world. I always thought I was this fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? And even dating, I always thought I was this weirdo, but I only wanted to spend time with people that add value to my life. Everybody else I would just put up with. You know, it wasn't compelling to me to be with these people. It was just there. You know, and that's back to being my dad, you know, that pinball, being knocked from one point to another, you know, and just kind of going through life dazed and confused. You know, it's just like, okay, what do I do now? Oh my God, you know, I lost a friend. What do I do now? Move the fuck on. You get divorced, you go through a breakup, move on. You know what I mean? There is a lot of fish in the sea. There's a new bus every 15 minutes when it comes to dating. Friendship, I have two friends. One of them died, right? And I have another friend that's pretty cool too. You know what I mean? He's coming up, and he shares the same mindset as me. You know what I mean? So I surrounded you know, my closest friends are the ones who have the same mindset as me. Everybody else is just a customer. You know what I mean? They're just in my life, and I'm cool with them, but do I want to hang out with them all the time? Nah. You know, do I want to do stuff with? Nah. I'd rather sit at home and watch and look at the fucking wall half the time. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things, guys. And I'm just being real honest with you. I'm not trying to be an asshole or anything, but that's just the way I feel. And that's the reason why I don't date very often. If I ask out a woman, it's because they're adding value to me in one way or another. I don't know how to explain it, but they're adding some sort of value. Like I had a great interaction with them. I had a great conversation. You know, I see that they're intelligent. I see that they have something of value to offer me in my life. You know, something like that. I don't just ask out anybody, you know. I have to be, you know, a pretty face is great. It really is, you know, and these chicks at the gym, they look great, you know, and that's fantastic. But you know what? That's a dime a dozen. You know, come to me with some knowledge. Come to me with something that, you know, you're doing. You know, if you're out there and you're doing some shit in the world and you have something to offer this world, then hell yeah, I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. You know, if you have an opinion, if you're educated, I am 100% in. You know what I mean? That's just the way I live life. And, you know, I wasted a lot of time with a lot of other people, and it just didn't serve me any good. So I didn't have a plan for that part of my life. But if you're young, think about it. In your 20s, you have time to screw up, right? You have time to fuck up a little bit, and you can move and you know, you can, you know, if you are in a relationship and it turns sour or whatever, you can recover easily, you know, in your 20s. Your 30s, it's a little bit harder. 40s, real hard. You know, 50s, now I'm going to start learning to date in my 50s, you know, because I'll be 50 here in another week. And, you know, I'll be figuring it out. And I'll let you guys know how it goes. But I'll share a lot of my stories with you. But, you know, it's been a fucking fantastic ride up until now. You know, I mean, it's been great. I can't complain. I really can't, right? Because ultimately, whenever I made a decision, it was always with my intuition, my heart, the Holy Spirit telling me that I'm making the right decision. You know what I mean? And you know what? I don't have any regrets. I really don't. The only thing that I regret in this world is not becoming a Navy SEAL. Because I know I could have served my country. I know I could have done some good in that aspect of my life. And I'm sad that I didn't do that. But other than that, the rest of my life has been fantastic. And it's only getting better, man. You know, now I'm at a point where I make enough money. I don't have to worry about that aspect of my life. I have a beautiful home. I have a fantastic dog named Einstein. And, you know, I have opportunities, right? If I meet somebody, I'm settled. I got shit going on. You know what I mean? And we can enjoy each other. You know, will I get married? Probably not. Will I ever have kids? No. You know, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. Getting married, you're going to have to be a hell of a woman for me to even think about that. To fuck up this situation? I don't think so. You know what I mean? So think about it, guys. Have a plan. Always have a plan for everything that you do. and execute to that plan. Don't let anybody get you off course. Do what you need to do. Be firm in your convictions and believe in who you are. Number one, believe in who you are, right? And work on yourself. Every single day you should be trying to get better and better, whether it be weightlifting, listening to YouTube videos to improve yourself, reading books, whatever the case may be. Become the best you that you can be. And that's all anybody can ever ask of you. Okay? That's all women can ever ask of you. If they don't like you, fuck them. If you're the best that you can be, move on. I feel sorry for you that you didn't like me. You could have had a good thing. See ya. And that's the way you gotta approach it. All right? I'm at the 30-minute mark, guys. I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. And we'll talk to you next time. Later.